That was a rough day. Here lie the remains of one supremely unlucky fella who managed to survive an initial volcanic blast but ended up getting squashed by a rock. Archaeologists in Pompeii have unearthed a skeleton that had been pinned underneath a 300-kilogram block of stone during the eruption of Mount Vesuvius in AD 79. The decapitated remains are believed to be that of a 30-year-old male. Lesions on the tibia suggest a bone infection, which could have hampered the man's ability to flee. The bones were found on the first-story level over a thick layer of volcanic fragments called lapilli. This suggests he survived the first phase of the eruption. Scientists think the man had been hit by hot pyroclastic flows while fleeing. A massive rock thrown by the volcanic cloud then collided with his upper body, crushing his head and thorax. The unfortunate man's skeleton is the latest discovery out of Pompeii. Excavations in the past few months have unearthed the remains of a horse and a young child. Tough luck. Man gets head stuck in movie theater seat. A UK man passed away from a heart attack after getting stuck in a movie theater seat. A man and his partner were watching a movie at the View Cinema in Birmingham, England. The two paid more to sit in the gold class where the seats recline. At some point during the flick, the man dropped his cell phone on the floor. When he went to pick it up, an electronic footrest came down on his head and trapped him underneath. His partner and staff struggled to get him free. The leg rest eventually broke and he was able to get out. Unfortunately, the guy had a heart attack and passed away a week later. The movie theater said they were conducting an investigation into the freak accident.
Man's tools get stuck in socket wrench. Not really sure how people in the UK use socket wrenches, but this tool actually got his nuts and bolts stuck in one. This do-it-yourselfer from Newport, Wales, really did it to himself. Once he and his tool became attached, the tool started to get a bit too clingy, so the handyman was forced to call 911. After emergency crews arrived, they went to work freeing the man's tools from his little boxes. Firefighters even sent out a warning on Twitter afterwards. Naturally, Twitter responded the way you would expect Twitter to respond.
A man from Largo, Florida survived a potentially deadly shark attack near the Abaco Islands in the Bahamas. Eric Norrie was spearfishing for grouper for his family dinner when a shark suddenly took a bite out of his leg. He quickly picked up his leg out of the water and survived his latest brush with death. Norrie has previously been struck by lightning, bitten by a rattlesnake, and punched by monkeys, twice. Norrie is recovering in a hospital where he is due to have a skin graft procedure.
Man barred from BA flight for excessive layering. A British man attempting to get from Keflavik Airport in Iceland back to England was arrested for trying to board a British Airways plane while wearing a ton of clothes. Ryan Hawaii Williams was at the BA counter trying to get out of paying an additional bag fee, so he did what anyone would do when confronted by a douchey airline. He put everything on. By everything, we mean all the clothes that wouldn't fit in his checked baggage. That's 10 shirts and 8 pairs of pants. And how was Hawaii rewarded for his ingenuity and out-of-the-luggage thinking? BA denied him a seat and called the cops on him. Then things really got hopping after Popo maced Ryan and introduced him to the ground after he refused to leave. Hawaii tried the next day with EasyJet, which turned out to be not that easy. He finally made it back on a Norwegian airline. BA and EasyJet have reportedly refunded him. Lesson of the day: airlines suck. Woman gets big Florida roach stuck in her ear. Feel your spidey senses tingling? That might just be a massive cockroach jammed into your ear. Ew. According to Self magazine, Katie Hawley and her husband had just moved into their newly purchased house, which unfortunately already had some squatters, so the couple paid for an exterminator to spray the residence. Problem solved. Or was it? A few weeks later, on the night of April 14th, Holly woke up in the middle of the night with a strange feeling in her left ear. She went into the bathroom and used a Q-tip to see what was up, and 2 little black legs came out. After freaking out, Holly made her way to the emergency room where a doctor used some lidocaine to numb her ear and kill the roach. He then started pulling pieces of the dead roach out. Too bad he didn't get all of it. 9 days later, Holly's ear still felt funky, so she went to see an ENT doctor who ended up pulling out the entire head and upper torso of the dead roach. Yummy. Holly said she now sleeps with cotton balls in her ears to keep out other unwanted ear invaders.
Seagulls trash man's hotel room for some pepperoni. Remember that time you left the window open? A Canadian man who had his luxury hotel room trashed by seagulls over some pepperoni in 2001 has finally been pardoned. Nick Birchill was banned from the Fairmont Empress in Victoria, British Columbia in 2001 after the feathery fiasco. Birchill said in a Facebook post that he was bringing some pepperoni to some naval friends on the West Coast back in April of '01. He wanted to keep the meat cool, but his room had no fridge, so he plopped some pepperoni out on his table and windowsill to chill. Then he went for a 4 to 5 hour walk. When he came back, he found an entire flock of hungry seagulls, around 40 he claims, going to town on his meats and his room. According to Birchill, the room was all feathers, seagull doo-doo, and chunks of pepperoni everywhere. In an attempt to clear the room out, he tossed a shoe at a seagull, which ended up going out the window. Only problem was that he needed that shoe for a meeting. Birchill eventually made it to his meeting, but then later got a letter from the hotel saying he was banned for life. In March, after he penned an apologetic letter to the hotel asking for their forgiveness, they finally lifted the ban.